Hey, what's going on, family? I know it's been a minute since I have been on this channel with me alone having a conversation with y'all, but I am back. I'm excited to be back. I just wanted to share some things I wanted you guys to keep in mind, being that the elections are over, because now it's time for you as a citizen to get to work. Yeah, and I know you're probably thinking, Rashawn, what do you mean? Okay, it's not the time for you to be disappearing like Houdini, doing any magic acts. Okay, it's not the time for that right now. It's the time for you as a citizen to get to work. And what do I mean by that? I'm going to share that with you. So, every month, okay, first of all, I need you to keep in mind your candidate's promises. Okay, when they came and they knocked on your door on a Saturday, right? And y'all come peeking through the blinds, or y'all crack the door just a little bit. Y'all trying to see who at the door. Y'all really don't want to open the door like that. I know. I seen y'all in 2023 when I was out there. I know what y'all were doing. So I know it was no different this time. Right? Keep in mind those promises. And why is that important? Because with that information, it's time for you to show up. So the first thing I need you to do, I know this might be a hard ask, but I'm going to ask anyway. You can either do it or not. But hey, if it's important to you, you will do it. If not, if you just like to vote with no information, so be it. I know a lot of y'all do that, which I think is the wrong answer. But hey, I can't tell y'all what to do. Y'all got your degree. Y'all know everything. It's important to show up to the meetings, right? Your council has a meeting once a month, okay? And you can find this information on your city's website. They will have the information right there for you to be able to see when the meetings are, what day and what time they are. Now, the town of Winterville has their council meetings on the second Monday of every single month. They have their meetings and it's open to the public, so you can come in and you can listen. You can sign up to ask questions if you have any concerns, or if you would just like to come and just, for whatever reason, and speak, okay? You could do that. Why are these meetings important? Well, they discuss everything about your town. Literally. Everything that affects you is being discussed every month in those meetings. Whether they're talking about taxes and they're voting in on your taxes, okay? Whether they're talking about your trash pickup, they're talking about that. They're voting on that, okay? They're talking about zoning, where they're talking about where things are going to be built, where things are going to be developed, whether it's businesses, whether it's homes, apartments, things of that nature. They're going to be talking and voting about that at the meetings. So keeping up with that is very important. And I would ask you guys to please go or either look at it online. So there's no excuse. There is no excuse. If you can't show up, because I know people are busy, you can absolutely pull it up on YouTube. You watch everything else on YouTube. You watch everything else on YouTube. You be scrolling all day long. You can look at the council meetings. Now, I know that they're not the most exciting all the time, because they can be very exciting sometimes. But it's very important to keep up with that. Example, a lot of candidates in Winterville, they ran on the community center. Okay. Now, the community center has been a conversation for a very long time. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. So that off top, it is questions for me. Okay. So what is going on with the community center? So those are things that you should be thinking about. I know that the land was purchased for the community center. Money has been put aside for the community center. But at some point, we should start seeing some type of some work, some progress going on here. And if not, then we might need to start asking some questions. Okay, you said X, Y, and Z about the community center. What's going on? If they spoke about bettering the streets, okay, if you know your streets are raggedy, if you know you got potholes here, there, and everywhere, you done hit a pothole, your hubcap is slammed across the street. Now, I done seen that with my own two eyes. I done seen that with my own two eyes. The car this way, hubcap going this way. Hubcap going this way. They said they're going to fix these things. All right, so what are we doing about it? what's the time frame that is going to be fixed? Questions like that. But keep those things in mind when you're thinking about what they said they were going to do when you're listening to the meetings. Another important thing to think about is to keep track of how your candidate is voting. Because listen, let me say this. It doesn't matter what these people say. They talk really well. They know how to move people with their words. They're very good at it. But one thing you cannot lie about is what you are doing at the meetings, how you are voting on something. You can see that with your own two eyes. You can hear it with your ears. And if you like a person that likes to read, you can look at the minutes. Read the minutes. You can't lie about what's being said and what's being seen. So it's very important to look at this because it will tell you everything that you need to know. If they are doing what they said they were going to do or not, you will be able to see it with your own eyes. And that's one thing I would really like for people to start doing more. If I can just get one person to just start doing research, man, and not relying on media platforms, because I feel like a lot of the times media is very biased. Sometimes they're not always truthful. So the only way to combat that is to do your own research and to see things with your own two eyes, or to hear it straight from the source. That's the only way. That's the only way to combat that. And then once you see it for yourself, you can make your own decision going forward. Okay? So knowing how they vote on things. If they said one of their promises was about having the roads paid, how are they voting on that when it comes up at the meeting? Are they voting yes or are they voting no? That's very important. Okay? Because if they're telling you that that's one of their major things and in the meeting they're voting no for whatever reason, we might need to address that. We might need some accountability there. Okay? So keep those things in mind. The next thing I would say is very important is to listen to the budget meetings. Now, why is the budget meeting important? Well, because it will tell you about your candidate's priority. I know they may say one thing, but when they show up to that budget meeting, that's going to tell you everything that you need to know. How are they spending your tax dollars? Okay? How are they spending your money? Are they spending it wisely? Are they spending it on things that are going to impact your community, or are they not? Because sometimes they spend it on things that are not directly impacting you. So you should know about these things and be able to ask questions. Okay, so why are you putting money here? And they should be able to provide you with an answer as to why they're putting money there. You, as a citizen, should know or understand why they're putting money, your money, and I know y'all care about your money. I know y'all care about your money. So you should be able to listen to the meetings to know what they're funding, because that will tell you where their heart is truly. And why are these things important? Well, not only is it an accountability tool, but when it's time for the elections next time, you can be able to look back and be like, you know what? I've been keeping up with you for these last couple of years. And you've actually, you know what? You've been doing what you say you were going to do. I'm going to go ahead. I might vote for you again. Or it could be, you have been doing absolutely nothing. You've been doing absolutely nothing. I'm not voting for you ever again. That's it for you. You're done. Right? So the only way for you to know that is to make sure that you are locked in on these meetings. If you can't come in, you can absolutely look it on YouTube. So there's no excuse for you to be able to keep up with what is happening. There is no excuse. There is no excuse. Okay? I think that's pretty much it. We talked about spending. We talked about the meetings and things like that. If you guys have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. And I thank you for watching.